Hi, I'm Mark Loftus. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Post TV. And today I'm joined by Aaron Sloman of Ownzones, based out in California. Aaron, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we've connected with you guys in the past, but for those of our readers who are not familiar with Ownzones, can you tell us a little bit about it? I know you're a cloud-based supply chain solution provider. Can you talk a little bit about the service you guys offer?
Yeah, I think everyone's a cloud-based supply chain company these days, right? Uh, you know, Ownzones is a company that was actually born in the cloud. We've been in the cloud for about 5 years. We started looking at post and video workflows about 5 years ago and said, how would we do them in the cloud? And we started working with customers and servicing their libraries. And every step of the way, we just started trying to do that with cloud technology. And so today, I'd say we've probably got the most robust cloud platform in the market, the most complete platform, and definitely the most full-featured platform where everything is native in the cloud. And when I say native in the cloud, it's not virtual machines running. It's scales, it's elastic, it's cost effective, it's dynamic, and it's taken a while to get there, but we've got a pretty cool system actually.
Who are your customers? Are they broadcasters that have libraries? Are they media companies that offer their media for licensing? Like, how would you describe who some of your clients are and how they're putting it into effect?
Yeah, and that's a good question because I feel like those lines are blurring a lot in the industry right now.
Mhm.
With a lot of the consolidations going on, a lot more companies are doing more in-house work. It's so a lot more of those traditional content licensees
Mhm.
are now becoming, like facilities. They have some of those capabilities themselves. We do actually support most of the different segment types. So we have customers that have their libraries that want to service them better, and they want to put their libraries online and make it so it's quicker and easier to do a delivery. We have customers that are large multinationals that have gone through these big mergers and
Mhm.
want to consolidate, and so they use the power of the cloud to help them consolidate and bring those libraries and conform those libraries. And then on the servicing side, our customers have found that they need to be more flexible. They don't need to have big, expensive machines in, facilities, and that they want to be able to scale better. And so we actually have facilities using us to do, all the steps of the workflow, all the way from glass to glass. So taking it from the original camera sequences all the way to delivering it into the major streaming services using our cloud. So, I hate to say that we do everything, but we do a lot of it. The things that we don't do well is like audio, where you'd want to be in a sound room, or maybe color correction and stuff like that, where
Mhm.
you really want to be working on very specific equipment.
Does a lot of it have to do with transcoding? Because I always think of when you're trying to get assets from one place to a delivery, there are formats that need to be, considered for those outlets. How much of it is transcoding or more than just transcoding?
Yeah, I think there used to be a lot of transcoding because everyone had their own specs and there weren't very many good standards.
Mhm.
But now we've seen some standards like IMF and MMC and movie labs and things like that really start to get used and broadly adopted.
Mhm.
And so we're not doing as much encoding. In fact, the whole idea around specs like IMF and things like that is component-based video and MMC. It's not as much transcoding. Metadata is getting really sophisticated, and the component video is getting quite sophisticated. Where instead of sending out 10 versions of a show that are an hour long or something like that, we're sending out an OV master version, and we're sending out just those components with those differences. And so that requires more metadata, more
Mhm.
of a conversation between the endpoints about what do you have, what do you need,
Mhm.
but less data transferred and a more efficient supply chain. And so, a lot of the sophistication in our system has come into dealing with those components and being able to also manage the workflows of third parties working with those components. And so the most common workflow I see is an English master comes out, needs to go to 26 countries. or 26 languaged endpoints. And so it needs some edits in the video. It needs new audio tracks. It needs time text caption tracks. Very common workflow. We're able to do all of that in the cloud now, right? And work with all of those companies and not send files around between facilities anymore. It's so the coordination of that and the componentization of that is really what we do a lot of now.
2020 has been an odd year. What have you guys been working on recently? And I guess, how have things changed, just the way you guys have been doing business and the way your clients have been doing business?
Yeah, that's a that's really the topic of the year, right? The first thing was when 2020 started, we had all these mega mergers going on, and so we'd seen these big conglomerates come together, great companies, made up of smaller, more nimble companies in the past, and a lot of customers came to us and said, "I've got this library and this library and this library and this library, and we're totaling hundreds of thousands of shows, or more than that." And they were, we have to bring this online into a streaming service, and they had a multi-year plan to do that. And they worked out before they even got to us that really we were one of the only systems that could help them because of the scale of what they needed to do. If you're going to process tens of thousands of shows and take them from TV formats and move them to streaming and remove the commercial ad markers and the head and tail formatting from that legacy studio and turn it into a streaming file and optimize it for streaming, that workflow at scale, they needed to be doing thousands of shows a day to hit their deadlines. And so we started doing that, as we came sort of out of the end of last year and into 2020. And then, when the pandemic started forcing people to be at home, and we saw this rocket in OTT services, and we saw companies that had planned services launching faster, they needed to get more stuff into their library quicker. And so what we've seen is just a massive rise in the conformance consolidation of libraries. We've seen a massive uptake in localization, because these big streaming services are global in nature. And when they do a launch now, they're not doing a localized launch in a particular country. They are doing a global launch, just like when you launch in a theater, right? So we've really seen that happen a lot. And then the other thing that we've seen is this need for global collaboration. And so we're very fortunate that we had a product that our vision was always for this global collaboration and scale. And I think that it's worked well for us. Yeah.
Is that your Connect product?
Yes, that's our Connect product.
Okay.
First time I've said the name of it.
Our businesses in this side of, post-production broadcast industry, they tend to focus on the NAB timeframe, the IBC timeframe. Things are mixed up a little bit this year. Where are you at as far as product development or anything new that maybe people weren't able to see at a trade show because of the pandemic?
Yeah, so the use cases I just spoke about is where most of our R&D has been, focused. And so one of the things that we've got is our deep analysis product, which helps customers basically build a digital, we call it frame DNA, basically the DNA of the video of the movie. And it allows us to break it down into components, and it allows us to process them through these media supply chains. And what we found was when we're doing that at scale, when you're bringing in legacy content, there's a lot of QC issues. And we had our customers with, dozens and dozens of people sitting in rooms trying to watch every version of every conversion. And we were able to do things like build AI to detect texted material on the screen, and when a time text file collides with it. And so that's an immediate fail at all the major streaming services. But it's something that can happen very easily when you've got television content adopted with texted, material in it, with caption files over the top of it, which is required by law by most countries now, and that's an immediate fail. And so, if for every TV show that was getting migrated into a streaming service, multiplied by every language, was getting watched in full length
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the start of this year, right? And
It's time
so we
intensive.
created a technology to fully automate that,
Okay.
which runs in parallel in the cloud. So, if a movie takes an hour, sorry, a show takes an hour or 42 minutes or something to play, we could actually fully process that in a minute or two using the scale of the cloud. And so that was one of our big features that we worked on. And then around video differencing and consolidation has been really big this year. Everyone starting to say we need to get away from our on-prem MAMs and legacy systems and get up to that cloud. But when they do that, they find that they've got 30 or 40 copies of the same show. And so how do you dedupe that to cut your cloud costs down and also actually come up with those masters that you're going to service off? So, those are the sorts of things that we're focused on. And we have a new task management system, new order management system. And, we're finding more and more customers that are moving to the cloud are actually using us as their core platform. And so we've put a lot of work into making our system serverless and more scalable too, which means that our end customers can run our cloud software without having to pay those big cloud costs, those big invoices that come in every month for
Right.
running so many machines and services, right?
I was going to ask you, what is a client's price structure? Is it like an enterprise license? Because you're not doing one piece of media at a time. These are vast libraries. So is it
Yeah.
a relationship or a monthly or annual type of contract that you guys assign? Or
Yeah, it's a good question because we're still in this hybrid world of where our customers still have a way that they charge for their services, which has been kind of an industry standard. And with the way that we work now, we really charge for like a piece of work that is done and by the minute, not by the title, right? Because that's how we pay our compute costs when we use cloud technology. And so we've had to be a bit hybrid, where for some customers we're able to give them fixed fees for jobs, where they can have that predictable model. And then for other customers that I would say have like taken a bigger plunge into the world of cloud, they're embracing this model that we have, which is it's going to be per minute. So we're going to have this sort of variable cost. But because we're doing it like that, we can optimize our supply chain. And for example, we'll process it in the middle of the night when those machines are more inexpensive. And we'll process it in a data center, with a lower cost model because it's closer to a bigger power source or something, because you're a global company. And so we're starting to get quite creative.
there's efficiencies that can
Yeah,
be.
much like a Google, or an Amazon already has had to, or a Netflix or someone like that with their streaming has had to keep their costs, at the right place. We're now offering that to our customers. And so our more, I would say, adventurous customers are working with us on these very modern cost models, which, is really around pay as you go and optimize what you use. But for the customers that are not quite ready for that world yet, we're still able to transition that into, more like a facility type process as well.
Cool. For our audience who might want to know a little bit more about Ownzones, can you direct them to your website?
Yeah, it's just ownzones.com, and we are pretty active on social media. We're active in all the major user groups and community groups as well. So I feel like our company's starting to get pretty well known now, and would love to chat to anyone that's interested.
Excellent. Well, you heard Aaron. You can check out ownzones.com. Aaron, we want to thank you for taking some time to speak with us here on Post TV today, and let's keep in touch in the future.
Certainly. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Okay.